Hello and welcome back to History on the Hoof. Today we're pretty much on the roof of England on Inchfield Moor at a spot over 1,000 feet above sea level. It gives a very good view of the Todmorden Valley from Flowerscar in the west, along over the medieval settlement of Stansfield, the Ice Age upcast stones of Worlaw Rocks and Bridestones, across Crossstone and Blackshire Head to Studley Pike and Langfield Common, and the Basingstone, both areas we've covered in earlier videos. Today we're going to have a look at the first part of a deserted village, once a hive of activity and now abandoned in this lonely spot. Its history, and indeed the road we're on, created in the 1790s, is all tied up with the coal mining and an enterprising family called Haig, who recognised its upcoming use in the growing Industrial Revolution and steam power. On the way to it, we pass Ramsden Wood Reservoir, crazily empty and neglected. The land was bought by the Todmorden Waterworks Company with the idea of providing fresh, clean water to the town. The first sod was cut in 1883 and the local board of Todmorden, that is, the then council, spent 5 years deciding whether they wanted to spend the money on it. By 1898 it was too late and the Rochdale Corporation bought it for the people of Rochdale. There was then the usual panic, cost and negotiation to allow fresh clean water to be provided to Todmorden and Walsden until they built another reservoir at Gorpley, opened in 1905. Some things never change. It was decommissioned by United Utilities many years ago. As we continue up the lane, you will begin to see the remains of houses and buildings. On the left-hand side, what was called Vicarage, and the right-hand side, Moorcock. Sticking with the right-hand side, you'll begin to see what's left of High Wychan Farm, which was to become the Moorcock Public House around 1817, and no doubt made a good profit from the miners of the nearby Foul Clough and Coolham pits, who lived not only immediately adjacent, but in the surrounding farms as well. There are a few tales of fights, poaching on the moors, and on one occasion a death, where a miner left the pub late one November night and set off across the moor home. He must have thought he'd reached it, as he was found frozen to death, curled up with his socks and shoes off. More houses were squashed into the Moorcock site, as in the 1861 census 4 families are resident, amounting to 22 people. It seems what was the pub and farm had been split into 2 and 2 more dwellings created. It wasn't a pub then, but had returned to it again in 1871 right through to 1891. Only the Moorcock was inhabited in the 1891 census. The vicarage houses here were empty. The mines had closed by 1896. With the lack of work, people moved away. In 1901, the building was still named Moorcock Inn, but the occupation of the head of the household as a farmer and manager, and in 1921, James Walton was listed as a farmer. It's recorded the Moorcock was still a pub until 1938, or at least still standing. So on the left-hand side were a group of houses known as Vicarage, as I've said. The Haigs initially leased all this land from the owner George Travis, who was the Clerk Archdeacon in the Diocese of Chester, and hence the ironic origin of the name, I suppose. There were 3 or 4 cottages here at Vicarage. In the 1841 census, there were 19 men, women and children living here at over 1,100 feet. Thank you for watching this episode of History on the Hoof. Next time we'll continue on up the hill and take a look at this interestingly named Coolham, pot house and perfectly described top of all. I look forward to speaking to you then.